So welcome. This is going to be a twist-focused bowspring practice. So start on all fours and come on to fingertips for dome hands. And from radiant heart, from the center of your chest, expand your rib cage. Push out through your arms and broaden through the upper back, through the collarbones and scapula. Then deepen your groins, tilt your tailbone up towards the sky, creating a low back curve. And then pull your hands back towards your knees, press your knees apart and tone all the way throughout the back of your body, neutral neck. Then walk your hands right. Curve your torso to the right and open up to the left side body. Keep the upper back doming and keep your low back melting inward. And press your knees wide to tone and mound your glutes. And breathe and expand through the left rib cage. Walk your hands back to center and over to the left. And then press out through the right shoulder blade from the center of your chest, broadening through the right side body. Keep the tone throughout, pressing your knees apart and pushing out through your arms. Then come back to center and plant your palms flat for bright hands. Press your hands forward and your feet back and lift up to crouching cat. Claw the mat with your fingertips and expand through the sides of your ribs. Push out through your arms. Heels lifted so that you can create that tone from the toe pads, toe mounds, all the way up to your calves, hamstrings, and glutes. And then pivot right heel to the right and dome your left fingertips. Come onto the ball of your left foot, push out through your right hand, and then lift your left knee up, and then start to circle your left thigh 3 times, keeping your spine and everything in the same shape and just moving the thigh bone in the hip socket. Reverse direction, just flossing your hip joint with your left thigh. Keep pushing out through your right arm. And then press into your right hand and step the ball of your left foot just behind your right foot. Push into your right hand so much that the left hand gets light. Bring your left hand behind your head for ecstasy hand. Let your head drop so your ribcage can get lighter and more lifted away from the floor. And then press your head into your hand and start to turn your chest up towards the sky. Keeping your groins deep and your hips back. Lift your chin. Press into your right hand. Hips back, come back to crouching cat. Breathe here. Push out through both arms. Pivot left heel to the left. Dome your right fingertips. Come onto the ball of your right foot and then lift your right knee. And as your knee comes forward, front plane, move your groins more into the back plane. And then circle your right thigh in your hip socket. Keep your left knee bent so that you can keep your hips back and then circling in the other direction. Keep pushing out through both arms. You keep the widening and broadening through your upper back. Step the ball of your right foot behind your left foot. Push into your left hand and take your right hand behind your head, elbow forward. Let your head drop, lift your ribs, and then press your head into your hand and start to turn your chest up towards the sky. Lift your chin, open your throat. Keep the fullness on all sides of the torso. Press into your left hand, bring your right hand back, and come back to crouching cat. Start to get ready to pounce, loading your spring, bouncing up and down a few times, and then press into your hands and float to the front of your mat. Come on to peace fingertips, lengthen through the sides, lengthen all the way through the crown. And lean a little bit more towards the front of the feet, hover your heels, and then lift up through the back of your legs, through your tailbone and sitting bones. And then keep the tail lifted as you lower your heels to the floor. Root down into your legs, inhale, take your arms wide, up towards the sky, and then bring your hands into genie arms. Hold your elbows and create a verticality through your spine. So lift your rib cage up away from the pelvis, Then tilt your hips back so your pelvis is at a 45-degree tilt. And as you push out through your elbows, expand through your side ribs and broaden through your upper back. Press your knees apart. Then take your hands behind your head, ecstasy hands, elbows forward. Lift your chin, inhale, and then exhale, crescent right. Open up through the left side ribs, keeping the hips back and the glutes mounting up. Inhale, back to center. Exhale, crescent left. Opening up through the right side waist, keeping the lift of the torso and the grounding down through your legs. Then inhale, come back to center. And then sit down a little bit deeper for chair pose. Bend your knees deep, bring your arms into chin-up bar arms. Talon hands, peace fingertips lifted, clawing your ring and pinky fingers in. Sit down a little bit deeper, pull as if you're pulling on a cord with your fingertips, stretch your belly long. Then shift the weight into your left foot. Bring your right foot on top of your left knee for infinity and hold your elbows for genie arms. Press your left knee up into your right foot to deepen your groins. And again, create the stacking of your rib cage so your torso is vertical and your pelvis is tilted. Then bring your right leg back for Mercury and bring your arms into chin-up bar arms. Roll the right thigh in so your right hip is in line with your left hip. Square hips. And then if you find your balance here, see if you can hover your left heel off the floor. See if you can create a suppleness here, not so much rigidity and stiffness. And then extend your right leg back. And then come into a lunge. Hover your front heel, bring your right hand palm open and your left hand into a fist. So both heels hovering, glutes lifting, inhale, lengthen your spine. Exhale, twist left, right elbow to the outside of your left knee. If you need to, lower your front heel. So if you need more stability there. Keep both hips reaching back evenly. Press your knees apart, stabilize through the pelvis, and twist from the mid-back all the way up through your head. Lengthening through the crown with the throat open on all sides. Take one more breath here, long spine. And exhale, twist. Bring your right hand flat. And then step your left foot 2/3 of the way down, left hand behind your head, ecstasy hand. Press your right hand down, lift your rib cage up. And then again, press your head back into your hand and curl back. Lift your chin, open your throat. Push out through the right hand. And left hand back. Come back to crouching cat. Press through your arms, stretch your spine long, hips back away from your hands. Start to bounce a few times, getting ready to jump, and then float to the front. Inhale, long spine, long neck. And then exhale, hands to outer knees. Push your knees out for earth pose. Shift the weight into your right foot, left foot on top of your right knee. Genie arms. Push your elbows out into your hands, press right knee up into the left foot, deepen your groins. And then extend your left leg back, chin up bar arms, and roll your left thigh in. Belly long and strong, hover your front heel. See if you can maybe even bounce a little bit here. Find that bow, supple support. And then extend your left leg back into a lunge. Right hand fist, left hand palm open. Pelvis is tipped back here, so establish the bowspring before you twist. Long spine, inhale. And then exhale, left elbow to the outside of your right knee. Press your right fist into your left palm and use that leverage to twist from your navel. From mid-back all the way up through the crown. Hips back, spine forward. One more breath as you stretch long through the torso. And then bring your left hand flat. Step your right foot 2/3 of the way down. Stay on the balls of the feet. Press your left hand forward. Right hand behind your head. Head drops, ribs lift. And then press your head into your hand and start to turn up towards the sky. Groins back, glutes mounting. Chin lifted. Right hand back to the floor, crouching cat. Press away, stretch back through your hips. Glutes lifted. Take a few bounces. Look between your hands. Take a few hops. Press down, pull up to the hips. Hop light. Inhale, long spine. And then exhale, sit down a little bit deeper. Inhale, stretch up. Come a little bit taller. Come up a little bit straighter and take your arms into V vector. And then twist right. So just twisting from your mid-back, and then reach back through both arms. Lift your chin, strong and steady in your legs. Then inhale, come back to the front. Exhale, twist left. Keep your right hip back, and then reach back through both arms, creating a twisted back bend. Lift your chin. Then inhale, come up. Exhale, bring your arms into genie arms. Hover your heels, and then start to lower and sit down onto your heels. Keep your spine vertical, and keep your pelvis tipped back so the groins are deep. Then inhale, lift up here. Exhale, twist right. Now take your right hand back behind you, left hand behind your head, and then slowly counterbalance. As your right arm reaches back, reach your knees forward. Go slow as you can, and then right hand ridge tops behind you. Now establish deep groins before you come up. Then press into your right hand, lift your chest, and then let your head release back. Then press your head into your hand, turn your chest up towards the sky. Again, groins are still deep, your hips are still low. You're not pressing your pelvis up towards the sky. It's the chest that tries to lift up. Slowly come back down onto your heels. Press away with your right hand, knees forward, and come back up. Hold your elbows. Inhale. And then as you exhale, press into your feet and lift up with your glutes. Inhale, hovered heels. And then exhale, lower back down. Again, trying to maintain stacked rib cage and deep groins. Then once you're at the bottom, inhale, long spine. Exhale, twist left. Keep your pelvis steady. Don't twist your hips, just your ribs. Left hand behind you, right hand behind your head. Elbow forward. Now, knees slowly come forward as the left arm slowly comes back. So you're controlled the whole way. And then once the left ridge tops come to the floor, so the knuckles are down, but the palm is lifted, deepen your groins once again. Then press into your left hand, lift your ribs, curl your head back, and then open your throat, turn your chest up towards the sky. Keep your knees narrow, your legs parallel, and your chest always lifted away from the floor as much as possible. Slowly come back down, hips to heels, knees forward to counterbalance, and then come back. Inhale here. And then exhale, press your feet down, slowly rise. Keep your heels hovered as you stretch all the way up. And last time, come down, back onto your heels. Moving slowly, mindfully, steadily with your breath. Now inhale here, and this time, bring your knees forward. See if you can lower both knees at the same time, so there's a bit of a counterbalancing, leaning back with your torso as you bring your knees. Now inhale, bring your knees back up and come back vertical. Then exhale, bring your knees forward. And you'll feel your toes and your feet working here. Go slow. See if you can keep the balance. Then lift both knees up. And as the knees lift, the groins can deepen. As the knees move more into the front plane and more in towards the chest, the groins have an ability to go further back. One more like that. This time keeping the knees on the floor, and then come up into a camel. So knees hip distance apart, toes tucked. Pelvis is still tipped, so you're still maintaining the 45-degree tilt. Then the rib cage stacks, so you're not tilting the rib cage at all. You're keeping the lift of the back ribs, side ribs, and front ribs. Inhale, press your elbows out, your knees out, and then exhale, twist to the right. Lift your right foot, take your right fingertips to your right heel, left hand behind your head. Now heel press your heel up into your fingers, then start to curl back and then bring your right toes to the floor, and then curl back for twisted camel. Lift your chin, open your throat, keeping your left hip back. Then inhale, come up, groins deep. Then exhale, come back, genie arms. Inhale, rise with the torso. Exhale, twist from your navel. Left hand to left heel, foot comes off the floor and you heel press. The heel kicks up into the fingers. Right hand behind your head. Right hip stays back. And then left toes can come to the floor. As you curl back, lift your chest away from the floor as you open your throat. Then inhale, lift back up. Exhale, your hands back, genie arms. Sit back onto your heels and then lift up. Actually, let's bring the hands forward and then press back into crouching cat. Push out through your arms. I'm walking back a little bit on my mat here. Start to load your spring. Take a few hops. Push down through your arms. Again, you're just trying to get your chest lifted away from the floor, chest vertical. And then hop light. Inhale, lengthen. Long neck, lengthen the back of your neck. And then exhale, hands to outer knees. Now cross right ankle over left knee. Right hand to inner knee, left peace fingers to the big toe and mound. Lift your knee up into your chest. Crease at the hips, bow forward. And bring the fingertips to touch lightly. Broaden through the rib cage, create radiant heart. Groins back, both sitting bones lifted. And then walk your hands over to the left. Keep your right hip back, don't move the pelvis at all. Bend your left knee so you can bring your foot forward. And if you can reach, bring the ball of the foot into the right elbow or upper arm. Turn to your left and take your left hand into shark fin. Base of the thumb on top of your head. Elbow forward in line with your nose. Then press your head back into your hand. Lift your chin and curl back. Now you can release that. Take your left hand diagonally left. If your foot is high enough, and you can even use your left hand to guide the foot higher up through to the armpit. Lean into the hands. Bend your elbows. Maybe you come into a dragonfly here, stretching the left leg over to the right. Keep reaching the hips back. Then bend your left knee, place the foot on the floor, push the hands away, find your balance. Come all the way up, both hands, ecstasy hands, sit low like chair pose. Lift up through the glutes. Keep the right knee lifted, don't let it drop. Then press your head into your hands. And start to curl back. Support yourself. You support your head with your hands. And feel the support in the back ribs. Look forward and release your right foot. Genie arms. Take a moment to establish the shape. Shift the weight into your right foot. Lift your left foot. Cross left ankle over right knee. Left hand to the inner knee, right hand peace fingers to big toe and mound. Lift your knee up towards your chest. Deepen the groins, and with the knee lifting, you can deepen your left groin a little bit easier. Fingertips to the floor. Long neck. And then walk your hands right. Keep your left hip back. Bend your right knee deeper so you can bring your foot to your upper arm and your arm to your foot. Take your right hand, shark fin, turn to your right. Bring your elbow forward in line with your nose. Keep both hips back. And then press your head into your hands so you can start to look forward towards the front of your mat. Then come back and place your hands or you can even use your right hand to guide your foot higher up towards your upper arm. Hands diagonally to the right, take your hands wide enough, outer shoulder distance. So you have a wide base here. Bend your elbows, create a shelf with your left upper arm, and extend your right leg to the left. Stretch out through the right foot, stretch forward through your spine, back through your hips. Bend your right knee, place your foot back to the floor. Find your balance on that right foot. Lift your left knee. Find your balance, hands behind your head. Sit down, hips up and back behind you. Head back into your hands. So create the fullness behind you in your upper back, and that acts like a pillow of support that you can lean back on. You've got your own back. And then look back to the front. Release your left foot to the floor and pause. Breathe and expand through the ribs. And then shift the weight into your left foot. Left hand to knee. Right hand holds the ball of the foot. Now lean way forward here. So the more you can bring your chest forward, the more you can move your groins back. And then extend your right leg out to the right and kick it slightly forward. Now stand up and wrap your right hip under so you start to level off the hips. And what you want to keep here is the left hip back and the left groin deep as much as possible. So you can keep your right knee as bent as you need. Push your foot into your hand, pull your hand against the foot. Now extend your right leg forward. Draw your right hip down so you keep your hips level. Inhale here, and then exhale, we're gonna lower into a roller skate, which is essentially a pistol squat. You can go as low as you wanna go. You can go only just halfway down if you need to. Inhale at the bottom, and as you exhale, lean forward, press into your left foot, and come back up. And then once you're up, switch hands. Right leg is gonna go back, left hand holds over the top of the toes, right arm, chin up, bar arm. Now start to lean forward, and then twist to your left. Keep your left hip back, and bring your elbow across your body to the left, twisting from your ribs. Now release your foot and bring your hands at a diagonal. Now the right knee is gonna come forward, and you're gonna press into your hands. And with the right knee forward, see if you can lift that right hip and create that lift to bring your bottom leg up into side chair in the air. Push into both arms. Don't worry, we'll do this at the wall as well. I'm just showing you where we're going. Long spine here, pause in your Uttanasana variation. And then inhale, come up, hands to outer knees, and breathe, earth pose. Now shift the weight into your right foot, hold the ball of your left foot. Right hand to right knee, lean way forward, deepen your groins. And then extend your left leg to the left and slightly forward. And then as you come up, keep the right hip back and draw your left hip underneath you. Breathe deep, shaking a little bit here. Press your foot into your hand, hand into your foot. Now bring your left leg forward. Broad through the upper back, inhale. And as you exhale, start to lower. Hips back. Kick your foot forward into your hand. Keep pressing through the big toe mound. Inhale at the bottom. As you exhale, you've got to lean forward and lift up from your glutes. Come back to standing. Now switch. Left arm, chin up, arm, right hand wraps around the toes. Bend the back elbow so you stay broad across the shoulders. Lean forward and then twist to the right. Bring your left elbow across the body and draw your right hip back. Keep your hips even, twisting your rib cage. Release the foot, hands at a diagonal. Now the left knee has to come front plane so the groins can stay back, hips back. Push into the hands. See if you can bring your right leg. Whoop. That one didn't go as well. And then come back down if you've come up. And bow over your legs. Then inhale, come up, hands to outer knees, and pause. So we'll come to the wall and work on that side chair in the air at the wall. So find a wall space and bring the short edge of your mat to the wall. And then stand about a foot to 2 feet away from the wall. Step your right foot forward. Actually, come to the left side of your mat and step your right foot forward and your left toes at the wall. This is a Bulgarian split squat. So your arms are in chin-up bar arms. Pull your left toes up the wall. Press your knees apart. Make sure the hips are tilted back. That's very key. Always maintain that 45-degree anterior tilt of the pelvis. Radiant heart. Now bow forward. Diagonal hands to the right. Now you're going to hop your right foot closer to the wall at this point. Open your left knee. So your left foot is in line with your left hip. Press into the toes at the wall and then bring your right foot up to meet the left foot. So you're in that side chair, in the air, using the wall as support. Chest lifted up away from the floor, press down through the hands, hips back, hips are twisted, knees are twisted. And then slowly bring your right foot back down, left toes pull up, come back up, release your left foot. All right, second side. Your left foot is on the floor, right toes up the wall. And just right now, start with the toes in line with your knees. Bring both arms forward, chin up our arms. Pull the toes up the wall. Engage through the back of your legs into the glutes. Hover your front heel. And maybe even bounce. We didn't do this on the first side, but you can try it. And then lower your hands diagonally to the left. Lift your right foot and hop your left foot a little bit closer and open your right hip so that lifted hip will allow you to bring your hips up over your shoulders. Push into your right foot, bring your left foot to meet the right foot. Push into the hands, chest vertical. Twist your hips, twist your knees. And then slowly lower your left foot. Push into your foot, lift up, and release. So there's another way you can do this with a block. So you stand on the block, and you can either put the block facing the wall, or if you want to try and balance, you can do it in the middle of the room. I'll show you facing the wall. So you put the block parallel to the wall, and you stand with the leg facing the wall on the block. So you're turning towards, if your left foot is on the block, you're turning towards your left hip. Now, bow forward, bring your hands to the wall, or to the floor, sorry, and lift your right knee. Then bring your right knee forward and to the right. Now that block allows you to get a little bit of a lift here so that the hips are higher and you can bring that right leg to meet the left leg. And the wall is there for you if you have to do a little bit of a kick. So you can start to feel that side chair in the air, that twisted chair. You can use your right toes at the wall for balance. But you can get a little bit of the idea of once you get the hips high enough, which does require some flexibility, that will create the physics to bring the other leg up much lighter and you can find your balance. So let's try the other side. Right foot stands on the block. That right hip faces the wall. And then you're going to bow down, plant your hands about 6 to 8 inches from the wall. Now the important thing here is that this back knee doesn't go behind you. It has to be front plane so the groins can move back. And then the bottom leg can get light. Push out through both hands. Maybe find the wall for balance. Twist at your hips. Push down through your hands. Lifted chest. And then slowly come down. And that's side chair in the air. So move the block out of the way. And stand at a diagonal on your mat. So this is diagonal starter block. Your back foot can be off the mat. Hips facing that front leg. So turn the left hip in. Bring your arms into chin up our arms. Now sit low, hips tilted back, glutes up. Right hand to right knee, left hand behind your head. Crescent to the right. Open up to the left side ribs. And then curl your head back. So again, it's that side bend, back bend. And then come up. Bring your left hand to the mat. Index finger point straight ahead. You can bring your left foot to the mat on the outer edge. Now lift your right knee up into your right hand. Press your left hand down and forward. Kick your knee out into your hand. Lift your hips high. Push out through the left arm, keeping your chest lifted high. Now bring your right foot just in front of your left knee. So right shin to the floor for a falcon variation. Now come onto your fingertips. So the knee, left knee is right behind the right heel. Now tilt your sitting bones up towards the sky and try to make your hips even here as much as possible. Now you can come down onto your elbows. Try to keep your right shin parallel to the front of the mat. Push into your forearms so that you're not collapsing in the upper back. Now tilt both sitting bones up towards the sky. And then try to lift your right hip a little bit higher. That's the one that will want to drop. So keep them even, and even think of lifting the right hip higher than the left hip. Now walk your hands over to the left and come onto fingertips, dome hands. Stretch your hips to the right. Come onto your right forearm, and then take your left hand to your heel. Pull against the heel, lift your left elbow, creating a little bit of a bicep curl on the left hand. And then lift your right sitting bone a little bit higher and even widen it to the right. Then come back to center and bring your right shin forward about 8 inches and come back down onto your elbows. Scissor your knees towards each other, lift your tailbone, lift your hips. Now drag your left knee forward, lift your left foot like a rudder. Bring your left arm slightly across the body, keep pushing into your arm. Take your right arm back, wrap your fingers around your toes. Lift your right elbow and broaden through your shoulders. Broaden through your elbows, turn your chest to the right. Now kick your foot back into your hand and then switch. You're going to take heel press with the left hand, palm open, right hand, ecstasy hand. Press your heel into your hand and kick your heel forward. Lift your chin and turn the left hip in, left hip forward, right hip back. Head is supported by the hand, throat open, neck long. And then release, hands to the floor. Lift the right leg all the way up into crouching cat. Pivot onto the outer edge of your left foot. Step the ball of your right foot behind you and then turn the left foot and come onto the ball of the left foot now. Keep your hips low here. Even bring your hips all the way to your heels. Left hand presses forward. And then lift your chest. Curl back. Right hand can go behind your head. Lift your chin. Head back. Wilder thing. Press into your left hand and come up, come back into crouching cat. Breathe here as you push into your hands. Take a few hops, maybe straddle hops, and then hop to the front. Come onto peace fingertips, long neck, and then inhale up, hands to outer knees. And then come into diagonal starter block on the left. Left foot forward. Turn the right thigh in so the right groin is deep. Hips facing the front leg. Hips tilted back. Rib cage lifted. Now fingertips onto left knee, right hand behind your head. Lift your chin and then crescent left. Keep turning the right thigh in. Open up through the right side body. And then bring your right hand back to the floor. Index straight ahead. Step your right foot onto your mat. And then lift your left knee up into your left hand. Push out into your right hand. So hips are high, chest is lifted. You're reaching through the right arm, so there's no collapse in the right shoulder. Now left heel in front of the right knee. Lower the left shin to the floor. So try to bring your shin parallel to the front of your mat and come onto fingertips. Tilt your tailbone up towards the sky And then come down onto your elbows. Press into both forearms. And then slide both sitting bones up towards the sky equally, emphasizing the left side a little bit more to make them even. Lean your hips a little bit to the left, and then walk your hands over to the right. Stretch out to the left side as you reach your hips to the left. Reach your arms to the right as your hips reach to the left. You can bring your left forearm to the floor, right hand cups the right heel, pull the heel towards you. Lift up to the left sitting bone a little bit more. And breathe. And then come back to the front. Bring your left shin forward. And then come onto both elbows. Drag your knees towards each other. Lift your tailbone. Press into both forearms, keeping the fullness of the upper back and the sides and the front. Now right arm goes slightly across. Drag your back knee forward. Lift your right foot. Take your left hand back. Lift your elbows so both elbows are broad, so the shoulders stay broad. Keep your hips even, so twist your hips slightly to the right as you twist your torso to the left. Then kick your foot back into your hand, and then switch. Left hand behind your head, right hand palm open to the heel. The heel kicks forward into the hand as the right hip reaches forward, left hip back. Lift your chin, curl back. And then release hands to the floor. Crouching cat with the left leg lifted. Hop your right foot in a few inches. Pivot onto the outer edge of your right foot. Step the ball of your left foot behind you. Then pivot onto the ball of the right foot. Bring your hips to your heels. Push your right hand down and forward. Start to turn your chest up. And then lift your hips slightly, but keep them low as you press your head into your hand. Open your throat, chest lifted away from the floor. Head back. And then press into right hand. Make your way back to crouching cat. Breathe here as you push out through both arms. Now come forward slightly towards plank. Turn your feet to the left. Bend your elbows and lower just the right hip, thigh, and knee. Then inhale, lift up. Turn the other way. Hip, thigh, knee. Inhale, lift. Exhale, hip, thigh, knee. Inhale, lift. Exhale, hip, thigh, knee. Slide your left arm out and come onto your back. Reach your arms up so you're not using your elbows behind you. You're keeping the upper back full. Now you can do wheel facing the wall. I'll show you that variation. So if you have a wall with a floorboard, you can use your hands at the base of the floorboard like this, the base of the thumb and index finger on the little shelf. If you're more flexible and open, you can bring your hands palms flat to the floor. So if you're using the wall, head is at the wall, base of the thumb, index finger on the floorboard. Elbows lifted right over the shoulders. Lift your hips, walk your feet underneath your base glutes. Once you're sitting on your heels, inhale to the top of your head and pause. Once you're on your head, see if you can lift your knees a little bit more and deepen your groins, elbows over wrists. Now push into the hands and the toes and lift up. Now press into the wall. Keep the hips low here, keep the groins deep, and keep trying to mound the glutes towards the sacrum. Keep the knees narrow, hip distance apart, chest towards the wall. Relax the neck, and then slowly come down, bend your elbows, tuck your chin, back of the head, upper back to the wall. Now walk your feet out from underneath you. And as you settle your hips down, keep your groins deep and the low back off the floor. Hold your elbows and get the upper back against the wall. And then bring the soles of your feet together, let your knees fall apart, and you can bring your elbows overhead as well. So in this position, You should feel the lower ribs on the floor and the low back off the floor. And with that pelvic tilt, your knees should be able to splay open a little bit easier because the thigh bones will be more deeply embedded in the hip sockets. So we'll try that wheel one more time. Lift your knees. Bring your head to the wall if you're using the wall. Base of the thumb, index finger on the floorboard. Elbows right above the shoulders. Lift your heels, lift your hips, walk your feet under you. Inhale to the top of your head and pause. Elbows over wrists, groins deep as much as you can, and then press into the wall. Straighten your arms as much as possible. You might need to walk your feet out a little bit if you need more room. And see if you can keep the groins deep. And if you feel steady here, if your arms are straight, maybe bring your right foot into infinity. Left knee presses up into the right foot. Right leg can reach up to the sky. And switch. Left foot on top of right knee. Deep groins. Then left leg can reach up and lower. Walk your feet out a little bit. Bend your elbows. Come back, down. Walk your feet out. Pelvis to the floor, back of the pelvis. Hold the elbows. Feel the fullness of the back. You can press your head down and lift your rib cage up away from the pelvis to make more room there. And bring the soles of the feet together, knees apart, elbows overhead. And take a few breaths. Allowing gravity to do the work here so you can just assimilate. And then support the outer knees. Lift your knees back up. Now bring both knees, or both feet, both arms up towards the ceiling. So the arms are reaching up, the upper back is full, knees are bent. Seaweed sway, bring your legs to the right and your arms to the left. Keep the low back curve in place, the hips stay tilted. Your right arm reaches to the left so you keep the fullness of the upper back. Inhale back to center and over to the right. You can turn your head to the right, reaching the left arm to the right, keeping everything awake. Nothing is floppy, but nothing is overworking. And that's the key in Bowspring, trying to create that tensegrity of everything working together, everything doing its own job, so nothing's overcompensating and nowhere is asleep. So keeping that mindfulness of every part of you participating and fully engaged. Inhale back to center and exhale over to the other side, arms right, legs left, hips back, low back curve in place. Then inhale up. Now hold your knees in your hands so your arms are straight and your knees are heavy into your hands, and that allows you to create the fullness of the upper back and the low back curve. And then release your feet to the floor. Slide your feet out and then grab your buttocks flush and lift it up. And then press your head down, lift your rib cage slightly up. Bring your arms by your sides, let your legs flop open for final assimilation pose. Close your eyes. Allow every part of you to deeply relax. Allow the tops of your thighs to be heavy. Allow the arm bones to release back. Let your skull drop down towards the earth. And then take as long as you need here to fully absorb the practice and to rest as long as you feel your body needs. Thank you for practicing.